for what it actually means. I got a little video here to kick us off when we start up here. It's from a popular movie, maybe not to you, but to a lot of people. And it's from the Ice Age. And you probably have no idea how this has anything to do with the sermon, but we'll get there. But I just wanted to brighten your day with a little video that. Story from Bucky, your favorite character.
I'm back against the wall. No way out. Perched on the razor's edge of oblivion. Staring into the eye of the great white beast.
Yours was flashing up here.
Were you killed? Sadly, yes. But I lived. Oh. Never had I felt so alive than when I was so close to death. Just before Rudy could suck me down his gullet, I grabbed hold of that gross, pink, fleshy thing that dangles at the back of the throat. I hung onto that sucker, and I swung back, forth, and back, forth, and back, forth, and back, forth, and back. And forth and back and forth until finally I shot right out of his mouth. I may have lost an eye that day, but I got this. Rudy's tooth. Dang. It's like the old saying, an eye for a tooth, a nose for a chin, a butt for a... Well, it's an old saying, but it's not a very good one.
You are Super Weasel, Ultra Weasel,
Diesel Weasel.
I love that movie, mainly just because of him. I think my favorite part is when he's talking to himself. He's got a skeleton head on his foot. He's talking to himself about eating. The little foot, like his foot is like, you don't need the calories. And he's like, why are you little? He starts strangling his foot. But yes, that's just like our Savior, right? Did he die? Sadly, yes. But he lived! That is actually something, I just thought of that yesterday. It has nothing to do with the sermon. It actually has to do with the old saying. You know the old saying? It's an old one, not a very good one, right? Eye for an eye, tooth for a tooth. Right? And he's right. It's not a very good one. And we're going to dive into that here in Matthew chapter 5, where we've been for, like 6 or 7 weeks now. So we're in Matthew 5, verse 38. And I don't know what your Bible labels it. Some talk about retaliation, retribution, revenge. Mine actually labels it eye for an eye. And as soon as I read that, I was like, Ice Age. All right, here's the word of the Lord. It says, he's inboxing me. You heard that it was said, eye for an eye, tooth for tooth. But I tell you, do not resist an evil person. If anyone slaps you on the right cheek, turn to them the other cheek also. And if anyone wants to sue you and take your shirt, hand over your coat as well. If anyone forces you to go 1 mile, go with them 2 miles. Give to the one who asks you, and do not turn away from the one who wants to borrow from you. And this is the word of our Lord.
Thanks.
Let's pray. Lord, we thank you for this word and this wisdom that you've passed. We thank you for your Son, Jesus, who is the blood of the Lamb, who was Jesus ultimately died for our sake. Not so that we could have some rich and famous and glorious life, void of sickness and despair in this world, but so we can have the assurance that the time has come for it to come to an end, and that you are making all things perfect in your sight, and that you are perfecting us here in this moment. Lord, I just pray that this word would just enrich our lives, that it would bless us, that this message would be anointed, that any words that I speak would just fall flat, and the message that you have, Lord, would just permeate the hearts of every person in here. Lord, I pray for those who are unable to be with us today, that they might wake up encouraged, and if not well or if busy, that they would find the time, the energy, the strength to hop online tomorrow and hear this word that you have for them, Lord, so that we may continue in your sanctifying work. And it's in Jesus' name I pray. Amen. We always want what's owed to us, right? We want justice. We want what's fair. And life just isn't very fair all the time. And we try to teach ways of coping, especially with our children. You know, like I find myself at times being hypocritical in the sense that we want to preach and live grace, not just justice. And when the kids fight, when one hits the other one, it troubles me, right? And because they shouldn't be hitting each other. But then it troubles me when the other one turns around and hits the other one back. And I'm like, don't do that. Just come to me first. Let me help you guys work things out. There's no need to be hitting each other. But that second one that does the hitting, even the first one that does the hitting, sometimes feel like they're owed that opportunity to get what's theirs. Or for the person receiving it, maybe they're getting theirs. But either way, there's a sense of justice. Like, this is what's fair to me. And the other night, I was caught being hypocritical in a way when we ordered some chicken wings from Domino's. And I did Domino's specifically because I have this habanero mango sauce that I love. And Kelly likes the buffalo, and I'm so bored of buffalo sauce. She has buffalo chicken dip, she has buffalo chicken chili, she has buffalo chicken pizza, and she has everything's always buffalo for her. And she just loves the buffalo sauce. And I'm done with it. I want the habanero sauce, right? And so we get the naked wings, and we can each get our own sauces. And it's the greatest thing ever. And so we're like, these wings are going to fill us up, so let's just get a small pizza to go with it. Okay, so we did this, and the delivery driver comes, and first they call me and say, hey, I ate these clothes, so we're out of the traditional Canadian bonus. Sure. So the price difference was a little off, but whatever. I just want my wings. And so they arrive, and we get there, and we get a whole heaping handful of buffalo sauce. And no habanero. I'm like, this is the whole reason we ordered from Domino's. It's the only reason. It's for the habanero sauce. Right? And so I was like, I'll just call them and see if they can bring some home. And Kelly's like, you're not going to do that. You're going to have them come all the way out back out here for sauces. And I'm like, why not? It's the reason we ordered it. And I tipped him for driving out here. He could buy 2 gallons of gas for what I tipped him. Which will give him about 40 trips back and forth to our house. Have you ever been to a restaurant or a store where somebody was wrong and they're just laying in to the store or the restaurant, the people, and you almost feel bad for the workers? You're like, dude, can't the person make a mistake? Can't that just be, is there some things we can just let go of? And that was the whole point, that there's a lot more that we can let go of that we choose not to. There's a lot more that we can ignore that we really hate to, because we feel that's what's owed to us. Some people have been so ingrained into their lives about fairness. Now, this is what you see. You can get online and find videos of it all day. Of people throwing a pot through the drive-through window because it was a minute late. Just this sense of, we call it entitlement. But the person who's displaying this behavior is calling it justice. This is what's fair. This is what's owed to me. And since you didn't give it, I'm going to give something back. And it's terrible. It's eye for an eye, tooth for a tooth, right? And Jesus says, no. Do not resist an evil person. On that verse for a second, I wanted to point out a couple of Proverbs. 26:4. Sorry, Troy, I didn't put these on the slide.
Okay.
Ethan, you can change the slide. Oh, he's not there. Actually, I don't remember if I had another slide. Go. So Proverbs 26:4 says, answer not a fool according to his folly, lest you be like him yourself. A fool's lips walks into a fight, and his mouth invites a beating. That's pretty heavy. I want you to think about this for a minute. Here's another one. Whoever is slow to anger has great understanding, but he who has a hasty temper exalts folly. I want you to think about this. Often when we feel what's owed to us, we will express that to somebody. You owe me, you shorted me, but how we approach the world in the relationship that we have, even if it's just a consumerish type of relationship, will say a lot about who we are. And if it's in anger, if it's in the sense of you owe me, the sense of entitlement, you look like a fool. And you invite an argument. I don't know how many times I've seen these same videos of the entitled, if you will, trying to get their way with a restaurant or a customer service. And they start getting into this argument, like, no, this is our policy, and we're sticking to it. And they don't care, they want what's theirs. And then there's just this argument, and this is how phones come out in the first place. Start recording. And it comes to the point that when we start demanding anything, when we feel like we are owed anything, we start to begin to look like a fool. Now, the level of foolishness may increase with anger, or temper, or tactfulness. But either way, when we need to argue our point, when we need to argue that we are right, that we're owed something, we are automatically inviting a debate about whether or not what you feel is true. Think about kind of like a court. Somebody comes accused, or somebody is accused, or somebody's accusing another person of a crime. The other person now has to defend themselves. And they go to the court and they do this back and forth thing, right, trying to defend themselves, or trying to argue another point. And this is the same thing that happens in our relationships in our lives as Christians. We find others who are wrong or who have wronged us, and sometimes we try to not just work it out, but to show them how we're right. To explain to them why we're right. And what does that do? That causes them to explain why they're right, or why you're wrong. And next thing you know, it becomes an argument. I recently had a seminary friend. I posted this post about atheists online. And I thought it was an ironic one because I have a friend who is an atheist, a Marine, and he posts a lot of Christian things, and when he posts them, I understand that he doesn't know anything about Christians. He doesn't really try to either, but he posts something kind of as an ignorance level. And so I posted this thing on atheism that says, I believe there was nothing was created, something was created nothing from nothing that happened a long time ago, and now we have people. Or something like that. That's the shortened version. And he was kind of like, yeah, that's exactly what we believe. And he kind of does like this eye roll, and man, one of my seminarian friends just attacked me. I was like, I would expect that from like the atheist, not the Christian. And he was cynical about it. He goes, is not the faith you followed, basically to follow the golden rule to love God and to love others? Because the idea was, when I talked to this atheist, but my comment to him was, he goes, I go, you're right, it's absolutely not. But it definitely does show there's a sense of ignorance, because I don't understand how you can believe what you believe. This is what it is in a nutshell. Same thing that you post. You post Christianity in a nutshell, and we're like, so much more than that, you don't get it. And that's the point. If anything, wouldn't it by dialogue? And so eventually, I got the point from my Christian friend here who says, if you go to the original post and you look at a lot of the comments, a lot of people are really offended by it. Oh, okay, well, I kind of shared it to my wall for my friends, for my purposes. I don't care what the original intent was. But people who know me will take it as they know me. And so eventually I took down the post, and then I reached out to him, saying, thanks for clearing that up for me, helping me to see a different perspective. By the way, Jesus taught that when you correct your brother, to do it in private, not on a public forum, right? And so I went to the public forum to explain this to him, after we spent 30 minutes going back and forth on Facebook, and I realized we both looked like a bunch of idiots. A bunch of Christians arguing about how offensive this is to atheists, and atheists is just like, yeah, that's what I believe. When we need to be right, we're wrong. If we have to be right, we are already wrong. This verse goes on to say, this text goes on to say, if anyone slaps you on the right cheek, turn the other cheek as well. If anyone wants to sue you for your shirt, hand over your coat. If anyone wants to forces you to go a mile with them, go 2. And the whole overarching theme of this is basically make the person who is causing this injustice to you look like a fool. By not arguing, by not fighting with them. Now, this doesn't leave room for self-defense. I'm not going to go into this type of thing. Because Ethan recently got in a little bit of trouble. You've probably heard of it. Some of you may have. There's been this bullying issue going on. And it's kind of like at the bus stop, so it's like there's no man's land. I think the bus is like, took her on the bus, they're not our problem. And the school is like, took her out to school, they're not our problem. And, but it's in this in-between time, people who are riding the bus are usually riding the bus because there's other things going on in the morning that parents would have difficulties getting their children to school when having a bus service. And so there's this issue going on, it's not getting resolved, and we don't really know who's always involved in it. Not only that, but if I'm honest, we don't always trust our son in his stories. He tells very elaborate stories, very dramatic stories, and very one-sided stories. We all do it. He just does it really well. And so, listen, he's kind of an emotional kid too. If he gets picked on a lot, he'll break down and cry. And so we're like, you know what? If you are saying something and nothing is getting done, then you need to fight back. There's a point where you just have to defend yourself. 3 days later, he punches a kid in the face. And it becomes this thing that eventually got settled. But he's never done that. Never. He's never hit anybody other than just playing and just a lack of self-control. And so, honestly, I'm not going to stand up and say he was wrong. Because there's no witnesses. There wasn't. I don't know. All I know is he normally breaks down and cries. And he punched a kid, which is way outside of his norm. So I thought, what would actually drive him to actually do it? Had to be something. But anyways, enough on the self-defense. That was kind of a rabbit trail. The idea is, if anyone slaps you in the cheek, turn the right cheek. So if somebody slaps you in the cheek, they're basically saying, you have offended me, I got mine. Right? So now when you present the other cheek, you have now forced them to abide by the golden rule. You have forced them to say no. They now have to step away from the situation. You're forcing them to back away and almost apologize in a way. Because you're standing there waiting, this is imagery, this isn't literal. This is imagery, but it's a sense that if somebody hits you and they feel like they've got theirs, and you turn the other cheek, first of all, people are going to know that they're going to be waiting. If he slaps you back, it just makes him an uncivilized brute. It just makes him completely uncivilized. And most people will probably do it. Because the original slap came out of an anger, it came out of feeling what's owed, what's right, that they had some kind of authority position to do it. Right? So it makes them look bad. Same goes for anyone who's to sue you for a shirt. Give them your coat. The idea is the shirt is less value than the coat. So they take it. You give it all of them. Some people have said that this is part of a thing of, some people have suggested that this is like, somebody sues you for your shirt, and you basically give them everything, you just stand there naked, and then they have uncovered your nakedness and bring shame on them. I don't know if that's necessarily the case, it could. But the idea is, now that they have everything, it exposes their foolishness for having to come after you, to sue you for something. So now they're left in a position where they need to give you back, because now they have too much. There's a great injustice already done. And you're exposing it by giving them more and making that injustice a bigger gap. And so now they have to give back to you. Now they're the ones who have to humble themselves. And the next was a mile to 2 miles. It's the same concept. It's the same idea that when we repay evil with evil, we look like a couple of uncivilized brutes. But when we don't, we expose the injustice being done to us and the folly of the others. I'm going to come back to this. Don't forget that. Because this last verse 42, seems really out there. It says, give to the one who asks you and do not turn away from the one who wants to borrow. That seems completely out of the realm of topic of what Jesus is talking about. But the point is, on this portion, he's saying, if somebody asks or wants to borrow something from you, give it to them. Because you got it through the same means. This is the idea of separating away from, like, this is mine, it's what's owed to me, I have a certain right to it, and it sets more of a precedent on, this has been gifted to me. God's blessed me with this, and so I'm going to bless others with it. Those of me on Facebook, just the other day I seen a person like handing money over. It might have even been to an offering plate. The person was not associated with the church, so I think they like the sentiment. But the idea was like, I give not because I have money to give, because I don't. I give because I know what it's like to not have anything. And that's the point. When somebody asks, when somebody borrows, there's a sense that it doesn't follow up with, now they need to pay you back within 7 years or anything like that. This is just give it to them. This idea that we must give freely without this expectation of getting it back. Have you ever had a friend or family member who borrowed from you? You say, I'm going to pay you back, I'm going to pay you back. And you set up an arrangement of that? There's always a tension in a relationship until it's paid back. God doesn't want that tension. And this is the point of this. This is like new teaching. Remember, we talk about exaggerations. If you hate somebody, you've committed murder. If you look at somebody lustfully, you've already committed adultery. Like everything's like extreme examples. And this is the same thing. He hasn't departed from his style of teaching. This is profound to even his audience of the day. Just give grace instead of justice. Because it's what Christ gave to each one of us. We had a debt. Romans says, while we were yet sinners, Christ Jesus died for us. Died for you. So while you had an unpayable debt, God could not stand that chasm, that tension in a relationship. And he didn't sue you or put judgment on you or slap you in the face, even though it's what we've essentially done to him in our transgressions. Instead, he offers grace. When we curse him, he offers grace. When we withhold things from him, he offers grace. And when we ask him to go a mile with us, he's ready to go too. This is what Jesus did with his only son. What God did with his only begotten son. With Christ. He says, your debt is paid. It's paid off. I forgive it. It's done. Because our relationship is more important than what's owed to me. And this is how we live our lives. This is not because we have, I don't know why, every time I'm preaching, I keep thinking of personal sermon. You remember that story? I can't preach that sermon every single day. But I did that. We have been forgiven, and so we forgive. We've been extended grace, and so we extend grace. It's no longer about what is fair, because this world isn't ever going to be fair. This world's going to end. Eventually it's going to end. It's going to be climate change or the dawn of the dinosaurs. I don't know. It doesn't really matter. Ultimately, it's going to be because of sin. It's going to be because of us, one way or the other. This world's going to end. God's going to establish a new one. And those who are with him are going to be in it. It's the most simple way to put it. We'll talk more about that after the resurrection. But this idea of justice is going to go away. And the only thing that's going to remain, the only thing that's going to endure this world and this life is love. It's love that brought Christ here so that we could be perfected, forgiven and perfected. It was love that sent Christ to the cross. He loved us so much that he was willing to undertake that, wrongly accused, slapped in the face, stripped naked, forced to walk with that cross. Why? Because he loved us. And it is his love that defeats death. It is his love that brings him back. It's love that death cannot separate. And it's love that will carry on after this life. And it's the only thing that will continue after this life. So, in this Sermon on the Mount, this topic of Christian perfection, holiness, what it means to be perfect, sets almost an impossible standard. That kind of goes hand in hand with being perfect. In a way, kind of impossible, but not really. We may fail. We may demand our habanero mango sauce. But we'll be judged by our hearts. Do we wander around this world demanding what is fair? Or do we wander around this world being an example of grace and love? And unless we choose to accept Christ, unless we choose to really get to know his heart for us, we're not going to understand the fullness of love and grace. And we simply aren't going to be transformed by it enough to show it to others in a way that will transform their lives. And so our burden on us today is actually not to forgive or to seek justice. Our burden is actually to lay down ourselves before the cross. Our burden for us is to let go. All of our issues, all of the wrongs that have been done, or are being done, and live in the same manner that Christ lived to set you free. Because by this we can also set others free. By the blood of the Lamb and the words of our testimony. Let's pray. Lord, I thank you for this encouraging word and convicting word. Lord, I tend to walk around this world and see a lot of injustice that's done. And we have a great desire, especially now, just in this world, to fight for any injustice. And you've called us to do that. You've called us to fight and to advocate for others, just as we have. But Lord, if I'm honest, I think oftentimes we end up fighting more for ourselves and our own feelings than we do others. But help us to just let go of all of this bitterness that we might have, resentment, this anger. Take away our heart of stone and give us a new heart, which is just overflowing with your love. Let us not be people who are just trampled over. But let our love and our grace be an example, a testimony, that either exposes the foolishness or expounds our wisdom through you. Lord, I pray that as we continue through this word, as we continue through your sermon, our lives will be transformed by it. That we'll be able to see areas in our lives that we've been falling short. And this sermon of perfection, these are almost impossible standards, would become our goals. Not because it's a rule you set before us, but it's because of the example of love that you've set before us. Now we would like to embody that kind of living. Lord, give us a chance today, this week, to extend grace to somebody that will testify, not just to our good character, but to our overall holiness and love for you. It's in Jesus' name. Amen.